in the Go Westeros Where in the World series. Last time we looked at 3 random lesser houses of Westeros and how they pertain to the overall story of A Song of Ice and Fire / Game of Thrones. Last time we looked at houses Glover, Rowan and Butt Emmon, and this time we will be catching up with 3 more. So without further ado, let's check up on who we will be looking at. First we have House Botley of the Iron Islands. We then will dive into House Corbray of the Vale, and then we will wrap up with House Ironwood of Dawn. So at this point I should mention that this does contain spoilers for all 5 novels of the Game of Thrones. House Botley is a noble house from the Iron Islands located on the island of Pike. Their lordly seat sits in the town of Lordsport, opposite the Greyjoys' lordly keep. They are worshippers of the drowned god, like much of the Iron Islands. The town of Lordsport is known for its forges and metal workers that produce excellent weapons, ring mail and plate. Their sigil is a shoal of silver fish on a green field. The current lord is Lord Selwyn Botley. They are of course sworn to House Greyjoy. The stronghold of the Botleys had been a great structure of timber and wattle, but when King Robert Baratheon put down the Greyjoy rebellion, he razed the structure to the ground. Lord Selwyn had his small folk rebuild it with stone. And that's all the history we have of House Botley and the town of Lordsport. We don't know if they were kings in the past or anything like that. We don't even know when the house was founded. We get our first taste of the Botleys in the second book, A Clash of Kings, when Theon Greyjoy arrived at Lordsport as an envoy of Robb Stark. He sees the new stone keep full of pale green flags emblazoned with a shoal of silvery fish, and he then remembers that the last time he had seen the town, it was a smoking wasteland. Theon takes Wex Pike, the bastard of Sargon Botley, as a squire in exchange for a horse. Sargon is the brother of Lord Selwyn. Theon also sees Botley as amongst his father's captains. When Theon is sent to raid along the stony shore in the north, Marin Botley, also known as Fish Whiskers or Old Botley, and his sons are part of Theon's crew on this sea bitch. When one of his nameless sons gets into an argument with Todrick, a fat Ironborn raider, it leads to Theon putting an arrow through Todrick's belly. He then orders Marin and his sons to finish the man off, so they slash his throat and loot his corpse. And that really does show, just the ruthlessness of the Ironborn. Old Botley, Old Fish Whiskers, and his sons are part of the harrying of the Stony Shore, which begins the Iron Islands campaign against the North during the War of the Five Kings. When Theon takes Winterfell, 2 Botleys, presumably 2 of Marin's unnamed boys, join Wex Pike in staying by Theon when Sir Roderick Castle's army of Northmen arrive. They are very likely slain by House Bolton during the sack of Winterfell. In A Storm of Swords, Lord Selwyn Botley stands against Euron Crowseye and claims that the Seastone chair belongs to Theon after the death of King Balon Greyjoy. Euron Greyjoy has Lord Selwyn drowned for his insubordinance. Germund Botley assumes lordship instead of his nephews, the Lord Selwyn's sons, and pledges his fealty to Euron, a puppet lord. In A Feast for Crows, Harren Botley, Selwyn's eldest son, is slain by one of the Crannogman's poisoned arrows when Moat Cailin is being sieged by Northmen under the command of Ramsay Bolton. This is after the departure of Victarion Greyjoy, of course. When Asha Greyjoy returns to Harlaw, she is approached by her childhood friend, Christopher Botley. Christopher is the second son of Lord Selwyn. In their childhood, Christopher was fostered at Pike. Balon Greyjoy sent Christopher away to Blacktide when he and Asha were found canoodling. Christopher explains to Asha that he is now the lawful lord of Lordsport, and that his uncle was given lordship by her uncle Euron for his support. Christopher even proposes to Asha, showing his everlasting love for her, but she turns him down. At the King's Moot, the banners of Botley are seen, and the Victarians seize their ship, Silverfin. Germund Botley, Lord Germund Botley, shouts for Euron for king, whereas Christopher Botley shouts for Asha Greyjoy as queen, despite the Iron Islands never having a queen before. When the Ironborn raid the Shield Islands, Germond is spotted in Lord Hewitt's castle on Oakenshield with a rope of pearls draped around his neck. In A Dance of Dragons, Christopher Botley sails to Deepwood Motte with Asha Greyjoy as she contemplates her next move. He advises Asha to take the Ironborn under her command and abandon Westeros and make their fortune elsewhere as traders. At Deepwood Motte, he is captured alongside Asha when Stannis' men take the castle. Despite not being a warrior, it is noted that he does fight bravely in the battle. Christopher is later ransomed by Sybil Glover to Tycho Nestris of the Ironbank of Bravos, who is in need of an escort to get to Stannis, whose army is marching to Winterfell. That is the last we see of the Botleys in the 5 current books. They are one of the main houses in the Iron Islands, and we actually get to meet a lot of them. A lot of the male line, of course. There's actually quite a few named characters. Even though their family is in a state of civil war, with Euron giving the lordship to the rightful lord's uncle, it remains to be seen if they will play a part in the upcoming Winds of Winter. And then we come to our second house of the episode, House Corbray of the Vale. House Corbray make their home at Heart's Home. Their sigil are 3 black ravens clutching red hearts on a white field. The Song of Ice and Fire wiki page states that they are an old but poor family, even though they own the ancestral Valyrian steel sword called Lady Forlorn. Their words do not appear in the books. The current known members of House Corbray include Lord Lionel, a childless man in his 40s, his eldest brother and his heir, Sir Lyn Corbray, and their younger brother, Sir Lucas. House Corbray can trace their descent back to the Andal invasion. Corwin Corbray conquered the Fingers by defeating Houses Brightstone and Shell, claiming the title of Lord of the Five Fingers. When the first men began to unite against the Andals, King Robar Royce II slew Kyle Corbray, King of the Fingers, and then they later claimed that Sir Jaime Corbray slew Robar Royce II later in the Battle of the Seven Stars. Famous Corbrays in history include Sir Corwin, who was a regent for King Aegon III, Sir Gawain Corbray of the Kingsguard, who was part of the loyalist forces that fought the pretender of Daemon Blackfyre at the Battle of the Red Grass Field in the First Blackfyre Rebellion. They duelled for nearly an hour, with the Valyrian steel swords Lady Forlorn and Blackfyre clashing loudly. A beautiful image there. I would quite like to see that on screen. During Robert's Rebellion, Lyn Corbray fought Lord John Arryn at the gates of Gulltown, and then later joined him at the Battle of the Trident. It was Lyn who slew Prince Lewin Martell. In the battle, he took Lady Forlorn from his injured father and led a charge that broke the Dornish. He was awarded the Valyrian steel sword, something his elder brother Lionel resented. We first hear about House Corbray during A Game of Thrones, when Maya Stone, Robert's bastard girl, confesses to Lady Catelyn Stark that she was infatuated with Michael Redford, Sir Lyn's squire. Lyn himself is one of Lady Lysa Arryn's, Catelyn's sister's, one of her suitors, and stays with her at the Eyrie for half a year after the death of Lord John Arryn. Lyn offers himself as a champion for Lady Lysa in Tyrion Lannister's trial by battle, stating that he is the surest sword there. And, I'm hard-pressed to deny him that. There is nothing about the Corbrays until the 3rd book after that, until the Storm of Swords. When discussing King Rob's succession, Lady Catelyn recalls that Eddard's grandfather, Rob's great-grandfather, had a sister who married a younger son of Lord Rhaemar Royce and had 3 daughters, one of which married a Corbray. Now this, of course, has nothing to do with the current standings of A Song of Ice and Fire, or the Corbrays themselves at this particular point in time, but it just shows you the vast network and connections that all of these great families have together, and even major ones such as the Starks. Well, probably especially them. Lady Lysa is angered by Lord Lionel Corbray, who asks that her son, Sweet Robin, is sent to Heart's Home as a ward. She does not believe that the Corbrays truly love her. Leaving his new wife, Lysa, and Sansa, disguised as Elaine Stone, Peter Baelish spends 4 days meeting with the Corbrays. Ooh. And when we come to the 4th book of Feast for Crows, Lord Lionel is content with Littlefinger's rule over the Vale. Lady Lysa is dead by this time, of course. However, his brother and heir, Sir Lyn, joins the Lord's Declarant. During a meeting between the Lord's Declarant and Littlefinger, Lyn menaces Littlefinger and draws Lady Forlorn on him. Later on, Sansa discovers that Lyn had been bought by Baelish from the beginning in order to undermine the other lords. So I guess we know what Littlefinger was doing for 4 days at Hart's home. Baelish confesses that he rewards Lyn with gold and boys and promises, defining him as a man of simple taste. Littlefinger arranges the wedding between the childless Lord Lionel and the daughter of a rich Goldtown merchant who provides an enormous dowry. The Lords Declarant are supposed to shun Lionel's wedding. However, Lord Belmore, Lady Waynwood, and the Knight of Nine Stars Simon Templeton attend, as well as Lords Waxley, Grafton, and Linderley. The last we hear about House Corbray is about Sir Lyn's newest squire. Michael Redford is knighted, and Lyn's new squire is a loutish lad that he took only for coin. Presumably, Littlefinger was behind that one. We guard the way. Those are the words of House Ironwood of Dawn. They are one of the most powerful houses of Westeros' most southern kingdom, coming second only to the Martells. Their seat is Ironwood Castle, and it is the last fortress defending the Boneway, hence their house words. They are reflected. This is also reflected in their title, Warden of the Stoneway. Their sigil is a black portcullis grille over a sandy field. It's noted that in the Ironwood's genealogy on the wiki page that they often have blonde hair and blue eyes. This means they are of the stony Dornish persuasion with the most Andal blood. The current Lord of Ironwood is Lord Anders. Anders. Historically, House Ironwood, being as ancient as they are, once ruled half of Dorne, with domain significantly greater than House Martell of Sunspear. That is, of course, a fact that the Ironwoods never let anyone forget. The Castle of Ironwood itself was established in the high valleys and the green foothills below the peaks, and seized control of the Stoneway, the second of the two great passes into Dorne. While protected and with fertile lands, abundant with timber, and possessing deposits of iron, tin and silver, that making them the richest and most powerful of the Dornish kings at the time. When Nymeria and her 10,000 ships came to Dorne, she and House Martell, who were married, warred with the Ironwoods. King Yorick Ironwood managed to slay Mors Martell, Nymeria's husband, and but eventually they were, in fact, reduced to bannermen. House Ironwood do not have a lot to do with the events of A Song of Ice and Fire. They're not seen or heard of until the fourth book, A Feast for Crows, where Lord Anders Ironwood musters and maintains an army in the Boneway at the behest of Prince Doran Martell. This was during the War of the Five Kings, and Prince Doran was presumably cautious about people trying their luck with Dorne when the war was brewing or when the war was raging. Later on in Feast, again at Martell's order, Lord Anders delays Sir Balon Swan of the Kingsguard, who was delivering the Mountain's Head. He asked him to delay him at Ironwood by feasting him for a fortnight, and that is one feast. Must have been one hell of a feast. In the Dance of Dragon, we get to meet our first Ironwood character, Sir Archibald. He is travelling with Prince Doran's son Quentyn and his cousin, Archibald's cousin, Sir Cletus Ironwood, as they are on a mission to find Daenerys Targaryen. It is revealed that Prince Doran is secretly supporting the Targaryen restoration. Sir Cletus is Lord Anders' eldest son and his heir. However, Sir Cletus is slain aboard Meadowlark when pirates attack them off the coast of the disputed lands on their way to Volantis. Sir Cletus and Quentyn were close friends. Quentyn was even fostered at Ironwood at a young age and was given his knighthood by Lord Anders. Archibald Ironwood, as mentioned, Cletus' cousin, does arrive in Volantis. Quentyn's party, including Sir Archibald, joined the Windblown, a sellsword company on the way to Marine. Archibald uses the name Sir Greenguts to hide his true identity. At Marine, they plan to ditch the Windblown. However, the Tattered Prince, the Windblown's commander, summons them and makes them join a party of Westerosi mercenaries, failing to betray the company and join up with Daenerys. They use this as an easy way to get into the city, and once there, they present themselves to Daenerys. However, she declines Quentyn's offer for marriage. She then advises them to return to Dawn, but they stay. Later, in Meereen, Sir Archibald Ironwood helps Quentyn with his plan to try and steal one of the dragons, although he and Gareth Drinkwater show disagreement with the idea. They try the plan, but Viserion roasts Quentyn where he stands. In panic and fraught, Archibald tries to put out the flames on Quentyn's body with his bare hands. Archibald and Gareth are of course arrested for treason. Later on, Sir Barristan Selmy visits them in their prison cells, where he tells them that they are to be hanged for treason and for killing 4 of the Queen's guards. Archibald tries to argue that he only killed 1, but he knows King Hisdar, Daenerys' husband, would not care about that. Gareth wants to blame everything on Dany, so Archibald, the calmer of the two of course, calms him down and explains to Barristan exactly what happened. He explains their deal with the Tattered Prince and how much he wants Pentos for himself. Sir Barristan then sees opportunity and offers them a ship to Dawn and Quentyn's bones if they deliver a message to the Tattered Prince. Gareth refuses, but Archibald accepts and convinces his young companion to go along with them. It seems Archibald has more of a head for sense than Gareth Drinkwater does. And this is the last we see or hear of any Ironwood involvement in the Song of Ice and Fire. We'll definitely find out what befalls Archibald and the rest of House Ironwood and Gareth Drinkwater in the upcoming Winds of Winter. I hope we see more of the Ironwoods. They're a really cool family. Dawn is so damn interesting. Just can't wait to see more of them. So yeah, as we wrap up on House Ironwood here, we come to the end of this episode of Where in the World, the second episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found at least some of what I said helpful in your quest to gain as much knowledge of this world as possible. Remember to find me on Twitter at GoWesteros. Drop me a comment, a tweet, some advice, some criticism, or just say hello. You know. I've been Jack, your host, and I will see you all later.